You would think being now in Bali, I'd feel amazing. The people, the culture, the sun, there's so much nature around here. But this is the power of your mind. This week, I was so annoyed at myself. You know those situations where you're just stuck in your head, like you try everything. I tried the whole gratitude practice, I'd be doing Tony Robbins, doing my old priming, all of these techniques that I know have worked and have helped me in the past, but for some reason just feel so stuck, feel so like a numbing feeling. And I'd try different activities, I'd try and be like, be grateful for this, train your mind, do this, and it just wasn't shifting. This is the power and the thing about our minds, our thoughts. If we allow them to take over, we can feel totally and utterly disconnected from who we are. I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to share the exact process on how I've come out of it, because a lot of us know about self-awareness. A lot of us know about yoga, meditation, all these amazing tools that are available to us. But are we actually taking action? And what can make us shift from a feeling of stuck to a feeling of, I have a plan, I have clarity, and even though it is not crystal clear, I know I'm on the right path. Having transitioned now from Thailand to Bali, I've got to say, I definitely prefer Thailand. I was in Bali like 6 years ago and it was so much more quieter. I've realized that I'm someone who actually enjoys quiet time. Doesn't mean I'm an introverted, lonely wolf, although I do like my space. I feel the minute I go out into the traffic, it is carnage and I feel so anxious, my chest feels tight, I'm feeling like, and I am, breathing in so much dirt. I now know why. This is overstimulation of my nervous system. So if I go into freeze mode, everyone responds differently. Some equestrian females go into, hyperdrive, go into run mode. Other females go into really emotional mode. There's so many states that your nervous system can bring to you. And the key thing here is that you are hardwired to it. That doesn't mean you can't rewire it. You can't retrain yourself to act differently, which is exactly the lesson that I had this week. Doing the whole journaling, doing the whole breath work, doing the meditation, all of these are amazing practices. But for some reason, it wasn't helping me shift this feeling of numb, this feeling of being stuck. What really helped was a few things. Number one, I rang a friend spontaneously. She's going through a breakup and I listened. I just listened for a good half an hour. She cried, she shared some really personal details, but most importantly, and this is what I needed to be there for someone else. I needed to hold space, which took me out of my mind and meant that I did something good for someone else. That brought me so much joy, brought me so much like a sense of fulfillment and content that it started to shift, just a little bit, shift this feeling of stuck. Another thing happened, which is there's so many street dogs here in Bali. Compared to Thailand, which also has street dogs, I definitely feel subjectively that there is more control over these dogs, whereas here it is carnage. There are so many, you can see there's so many mums because their teats are full of milk. There's so many full dogs here. Not gonna lie, walking around the streets, even as a dog person, it is a little bit, if you're an animal person and you understand animals' energy and intention, there are some dogs here that genuinely will bite. There are some dogs here that are genuinely scared as well, so it is very heartbreaking as well. You can see they've had a negative experience with a human because the minute they see you or the minute you go up to them, they cower down, tail between their legs, and they run away. So there's definitely a very different relationship here with the culture and the people with the dogs compared to that of in Thailand. Now there's this one dog that is always, for some reason, I don't know who its owner is, outside the gym between a particular hour of the day. And it's a little, like a beautiful fox type, pure black dog. And he's absolutely gorgeous. The minute I see him, I go very soft and I go very like smiling and I go very like, I'm just so grateful to see him because he looks at you and smiles with his eyes. Honestly, he brings you so much joy. And like I do any dog that I've never met, I allow myself into his space, but at a distance. Now, because he was on a lead, he came to the end of his lead. So that I read that as I can go into that space to allow him to touch me first. And that's the key thing. It's allowing them to make the first move and the touch, as opposed to what so many of us do, which is just reach out and touch them straight away, which is normally when you can get bitten or a higher chance of being bitten. But this little dog, so now he knows me, he sees me, his tail goes, his little ears go back, and he genuinely is smiling with his eyes. It is beautiful. Now, the second time I went there, I was like, okay, this little dog and I are definitely getting closer and closer. So what I did is went down to his level, and in doing so, he stepped into my space again, but this time put his little head on top of my knee. Now that feeling again brought me out of here, out of the mind, out of the feeling of being stuck, and into the pure, I suppose you'd call it love. It's corny as that sounds, it was love. It was that pure, innocent love that animals all have, that you and I know animals have. And it's that innocence there that, we're not speaking the human language of verbal cues, verbal communication. We're speaking the body language, and the body language of connection and love. And that's fundamentally what it comes down to. Those two situations that happened shifted something in me, shifted this feeling of stuck, numbness, feeling of, I was honestly peed off with myself. I was frustrated with the recurring thoughts. And then this led me on to something which I'm going to teach you today. If you're a rider and you're really struggling to know what's going on with your horse, here are 4 things to help you shift the understanding of frustration, shift that feeling, those thoughts of frustration into something actionable, into something that will shift that needle a little bit closer. Number 1, ask yourself these 4 questions. Number 1, ask yourself, what is going on with me? Number 2, what is going on with my horse? No judgment. Number 3, what is going on between myself and my horse? And number 4 is what is going on in the environment. Now, as a rider and someone who's competed all over Europe and represented Great Britain, I've also done riding as a jockey both in the UK and both in Australia. These were questions that I would ask myself when the horse I was riding wasn't listening, my interpretation, or wasn't doing what I wanted them to do. Or as a chiropractor, doing clinics all over the world, I get presented with cases where people will say to me, what is going on with this horse? It's had every bit x-rayed, but it's still not happy. It's still not sound. What's going on? By following these 4 cues, sentences, you will get there a whole lot quicker than going down the route of constantly, what's wrong, x-raying everything. So many of us, out of those 4 questions, tend to focus on number 2 and number 4. So number 2 was, what is going on with my horse? Most of us are very quick to label our horse. They're moody. They are this. They are stubborn. Then we go quickly to number 4, which is, what is going on in my environment? That guy cutting the hedge upset my horse today, or that bloody pigeon flew out just as I was coming around the corner. Like, we've all been there. And we forget number 1 and number 3. Number 1 being, what's actually going on with yourself? What is your state like? How have you showed up for your horse today? Have you showed up rushed and stressed because you got stuck in traffic and someone upset you at work? Have you had something happen to you where you've had some grief? The same thing goes for number 3. What is then going on with you and your horse? You know, there's situations where your horse will be naughty for you, and I'm using that as a very layman term, they're naughty, but we know what it means. There's always something going on. They're just expressing their behavior. But say you're really frustrated, your horse will not do that. That movement, that won't go into that area of the field, whatever it is. Someone else comes along and the horse just does it perfectly. And you think, how dare they do that? It's all about you, right? How dare they? How dare that horse do that? When at the end of the day, if you thought, how am I showing up today? Is my horse picking up on what's actually going on in my nervous system? Is my horse picking up on the situation that happened when I was stuck in traffic and I haven't managed to process that, and I'm bringing that forward for my ride today? The truth about nervous system, the truth about any nervous system is that when we are grounded and we truly understand why we feel anxious or why we feel triggered, why we feel frustrated, why we feel low, that is an opportunity for us to then tune into our nervous system and understand it, which then affects these thoughts. We all have millions of thoughts happening every single day. And most of us know that when we wake up feeling a bit low, as I've felt the last week, I get stuck in the spiral of negative thoughts. This was what led me to feeling quite numb, and my nervous system went into a freeze mode. Looking back and asking myself some questions, recognizing that that was because of something that happened to me earlier on in my life, and I learned the only way to cope, to feel safe within my nervous system, was to just keep quiet, was to just freeze. It'll go away. You know that saying, bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and it'll go away? Well, it doesn't go away. Your nervous system, your neurons, your wiring of your brain is the wiring of your brain is focused and remembers that experience. The beauty about this is we can rewire our brain. So for example, once I recognized what was going on and I caught that thought really quick and I did something kind, I replaced it with the actionable step of doing something kind with a dog and with the friend that was going through the breakup. This made me feel like I was doing something that wasn't about me. It made me feel like I was doing something for kindness. I was in the moment. I was holding space for my friend. I was holding space for that wonderful little dog. This shifted it, and I thought to myself, okay, nervous system, brain, you now feel safe. You now feel this is a nice feeling. Let's rewire and hardwire that feeling, that sensation. And that is the actionable step that I want to give you to take forward from this episode. Through the discomfort of this week, this is what I realized. You cannot force your way into clarity. You have to soften. You have to allow. You have to surrender. So if you're feeling stuck, whether it's in business, whether it's with your horse, whether it's within yourself, if you're not liking the version of you that you're seeing in the mirror, stop and ask yourself those 4 questions. Stop trying to fix it and go back into those feelings that we all have when we're first born, into those nervous system, those non-verbal communication, that feeling you get of joy, that feeling that you get of being in your body, when you are feeling connected, when you're feeling loved. If this episode resonated with you, drop me a comment below or send this episode to someone who really needs it, someone who's maybe also stuck in their head right now. And if you want more conversations like this with nervous system healing, practical, actionable take-home steps to help you improve your performance as a rider, as a female rider, comment below and be sure to subscribe.